Madonna.
Erotica.
It's a funny old job, television. You never quite know what the day's going to bring. For example, some mornings I get up early, have a shave, head for the studio, and then find myself preparing all day so that I can interview a man who talks backwards very quickly. Other times you're picked up in a car like this one, taken to a posh hotel, wearing a nice new jacket that you hope says something like, I'm smart, I'm clean, I'm hip, but don't get too close, I'm married, before being escorted past throngs of desperate teenagers and representatives of the finest press corps in the world, the British tabloids, into the presence of one who is far more famous than you could ever expect to be, which of course is what I'm doing today. You see, even as I speak, the one and only Madonna is pacing up and down in a hotel room not far from here, preparing herself and her answers for me and my questions, erecting an emotional barricade against the silver-tongued onslaught to follow. Barricades which, of course, will fall away like the flimsiest items of lingerie as I get really warmed up. Perhaps she's even panting in fear. Fear that she, this material girl, this post-pop icon who promises so much, might not live up to expectations, might not deliver the goods, not just for me, but for you, the world-weary, sophisticated, seen-it-all-before audience. And for the record, I'm happy to admit that I'm a little nervous as well. You see, I've interviewed some of the biggest stars of the 80s and 90s, but there's something about Madonna, or Madge, as I prefer to call her, that's different. Lisa. Thank you. Morning, everyone. How are you? I've got to go in. She's waiting for me. She's expectant. She plays the game better than any other modern star. While others hide away from the glare, exciting us by remaining unavailable, unattainable, almost private, she seems to give more and more away each year. While Michael Jackson remains a rather sad enigma, while George Michael tries to suggest a little more depth by keeping quiet, while Prince gets on with, well, whatever it is that Prince does in those bumless pants and chain-mail cap of his, Madonna is always out there, talking about her sexual preferences, hinting at the, if not forbidden, slightly riper fruit of her love life, even to the extreme of taking a whole chunk of her existence, a whole period of work and sex and play, and paying a film crew to follow her around and catch every last moment for public consumption. If it's worth doing, she seems to be saying, then why not do it in front of an audience? In fact, why not do it in a beautifully produced aluminium-bound, arty, photographic book and charge people 25 sogs a pop for it? Perhaps the most remarkable thing about Madge is that people no longer seem to think about the fact that she's a talented singer or actress or live performer. It's the incredible fuss she managed to cause just by jogging in the park or, well, taking her knickers off for the camera. Madonna is way above all that boring song and dance talent stuff. She is the Napoleon of hype, the Attila the Hun of self-promotion, the Julius Caesar of modern mass marketing. And what makes it even better, even more incredible, is that she's a woman. Blimey, she's a genius.
Erotica. Romance. Erotica. Romance. My name is Lita. I'll be your mistress tonight. I'd like to put you in a trance. If I take you from behind, push myself into your mind when you least expect it. You try to reject it. If I'm in charge and I treat you like a child, will you let yourself go wild? Let my mouth go where it wants to. Give it up, do as I say. Give it up and let me have my way. I'll give you love, I'll hit you like a truck. I'll give you love, I'll teach you how to. I'd like to put you in a trance.
Well, first of all, let me, before we start properly, I just wanted to ask you to just relax and don't be nervous about it. And I'm just a regular guy.
Do I look nervous?
No, but I thought you might have, you might have heard things, you might have felt a little bit, I don't know.
I've heard things, but certainly not more than what you've heard about me.
No, I'm sure. No, it's very nice to see you back in London.
Thank you.
The fuss downstairs, I don't know, you're probably used to it, but all the press outside and fans outside, is that something you get used to, or is it just a kind of pain?
Well, I don't think you ever really, I mean, you expect it after a while, but you don't really get used to it, because a lot of times you want to, go out for a walk and do something spontaneous, and you can't really do anything unless you call in the troops, basically. So I don't really ever get used to it.
Is that why you didn't go jogging this morning, or have you given up that kind of thing?
No, I exercised this morning, but it's just so difficult to go outside, so just do it in my room. Let me ask you, you're not wearing it now, and I must admit I'm mildly disappointed, but this new gold tooth, is it a D on it? Yes.
For Dita.
Dita.
The movie star. Well, tell me about it first of all. What inspired it? How many do you have? And where do you keep it when it's not in?
Well, it was inspired, the gold tooth, I've seen it on people and I like the way it looks. I've seen it on gypsies, I've seen it on Indian women, I've seen it on rappers, in New York, stuff like that. And so I liked it. I think I like gold, first of all. And the D, what inspired putting the D on it, just because that's the narrator of my book, Dita Parlo. And also I wear it in my video because the beginning of the song starts off with my name is Dita. And I like the D. I have one with an M in it, but I don't like to wear it.
Does it annoy you when it's on, or you just forget about it?
Can't even feel it.
Do you have any other body jewellery you'd care to share with us?
Only rings. I mean, that's it.
Okay.
No pierced nipples.
Thanks for sharing that, even if you don't have any. You ever thought about that?
I've thought about how painful it must be, and I would never want to do it. That's about it.
Let me talk a little bit about the way your career's gone, because I remember the first time I saw you on television ever in this country, you came over to do the Tube television show.
Yeah.
And I looked at that clip recently, and it's a very different looking you.
Yeah.
I mean, everything, physically, in the way you dress, the way you move, and just to look,
I've changed.
You have changed enormously. And for the better, I like to think.
Oh, I'd like to think that, too.
If we took the holiday, some time to celebrate, just one day out of life, it would be so nice. Everybody said the word, we're gonna have a celebration all across the world.
I mean, at the time, I remember everyone saying, here's this new disco diva, she's a new flavour of the month, and she'll be gone in a year, and everyone had written you off. And were you aware of that, and did you maybe fear that yourself?
No, I never feared it. I've always tried to not pay attention to it. I mean, they're still saying the same things now they did 10 years ago. I just know more about life, period, I mean, because I do what I do, I've been exposed to so many different kinds of people and culture, and I know more. And I guess I feel more comfortable in my skin. So.
Erotica, which I was listening to this morning on my little Walkman and enjoying very much, it's got much more of a kind of a dancey R&B sound to it, quite a heavy sound to it.
Yeah.
Is it intended for the clubs? Is that a step that you're trying to make?
No, that's the kind of music I've been listening to, influenced by, and I mean, it probably has a sort of a more gritty quality and more club quality, but it's because that's what I like right now. Yeah.
There are a lot of, it's a very sexy album.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
Not all of it, but most of it. But some songs more than others, and there are a lot of kind of anatomical references. Now, when you're writing that kind of stuff, are you writing that for yourself, or are you writing that with some kind of impact, impression that you want to make?
I like, when I write music, I like to write them like, in my mind there's a little movie playing, and I always envision scenarios and characters, and of course it's not always something that I've experienced, but I always say it in the first person, so it seems like it's a personal thing. And they're just usually ideas that amuse me. I mean, sometimes they're things that I think are erotic. Sometimes they're things that I think would be interesting to write a song about, because no one's ever written a song about it. You know, I mean, I'm influenced by many things, and my inspirations come from lots of different places, and sometimes I know I'm purposely being funny or ironic, you know, and sometimes I just like the way words sound. I mean.
Do you worry that people might not get the irony, but they might not pick up on the humour?
Not really. I mean, everyone's not going to, you have to be intelligent to get the humor. You have to be sophisticated, and I know everybody isn't, so some people will get it and some people won't.
Let me talk to you about one song in particular which I enjoy, which is Where Life Begins.
Oh, good.
And it's a top song, and the lyrics on it, this particular bit, now what could be better than a home-cooked meal? How you want to eat it depends on how you feel. Forgive the delivery, please. You can eat all you want and you don't get fat. Now where else can you go for a meal like that? It's not fair to be selfish or stingy. Every girl should experience eating out. Well, first of all, here.
Meaning you agree with it?
When I heard it, I was shouting, author, author. I gave you a standing ovation. I was on the train at the time. But there's a message there, and it's a funny song as well.
Well, it's innuendo too, because first it's the implication that girls like to go out. It's like if you say, I like to eat out tonight, it could be taken as I like to go out to a restaurant. So there's like the surface of it, right? There's the surface meaning, and then, of course, hopefully, the majority of the people will get that it's also a sexual reference. And I truly believe that every girl should experience eating out, in both cases, sexually and in restaurants.
And for the
or
two,
sometimes the two could meet.
Yeah, they could be combined. Have to be in a very liberal restaurant, of course.
Absolutely.
Got any tips on the frequency that we're talking about here?
On a regular basis, absolutely. I mean,
it's implicit, the sexual innuendo, the references there. But looking back on other songs, it's quite easy to see a thread, even if it wasn't intended. Like, I read recently that you said that Like a Virgin, you intended virgin to be seen as just coming to something fresh.
Yeah.
For the first time, not particularly.
Well, I always try to write songs so that they could be read on lots of different levels, you know, so you could appreciate them superficially, and then if you go deeper, you see something else.
You worked very successfully with Prince. You had a duet with Prince, and there was a lot of talk, of course, at one time of you working with Michael Jackson. I know you were quite keen on that, and people were looking forward to it. It would have been really something.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, it would have been really something.
Well, I mean, just, you know, a lot of it has to do with chemistry. There's, like, lots of great painters, but I don't know if they got together, they'd make a great painting. You know what I mean?
Not the same thing, though, is it? I mean, you
Yes,
can't really
it
share
is.
a brush, can you? It's not.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Andy
Rembrandt and
Warhol got
Picasso,
together
though.
with Keith Haring and made paintings, and they were great.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, that is. Okay, you got me there. But so you weren't happy. Was it the chemistry that caused it to fall apart then?
Well, it's not that I was unhappy. I mean, it was an experiment. He called me. He wanted to write a song with me. I mean, he approached me, and I was, like, curious. It's hard for me to write music with people because I have to really know them and trust them and feel that I can really make myself vulnerable, because when you write, you have to sort of bear a little bit of your soul, and you have to not be afraid to make mistakes and to sing in front of someone. You know, it's in a way, it's a very intimate experience. So I wasn't sure it was going to work, even though I think he's talented. So we got together, and he played me a bit of music. It was a very unfinished track, and he said that he wanted to call the song In the Closet. And I said, really?
Well, no, hold it a second before we go on there. What exactly was he referring to there, do
Well,
you
that's
think?
wait, that's what I'm getting to. I said, you want to call the song In the Closet? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, do you know what that implies? And he said, yeah, and he sort of giggled a little bit. And I said, well, you know, I like to deal with these kind of ironic innuendo kind of things. So if you want to go that way, I was kind of like shocked that he wanted to call something like that, because it's very provocative, the title. And so he said, yeah. So I started writing words and getting ideas and stuff. and I presented them to him, and he didn't like them. And I think that I think all he wanted was a provocative title, and ultimately he didn't want the content of the song to be sort of live up to the title. And
it's quite interesting because it's almost like you traditionally, you've got the kind of masculine role in that relationship, and he is the passive.
Yes, definitely.
But let's not go much further
Let's
with that,
not.
shall we?
Well, you're welcome to.
There was talk, I believe, that you were going to restyle him. You didn't like the way he looked. What did you have in mind for him?
Well, I really wanted him to cut his hair. I mean, just that, I think sometimes it's good to cut your hair and start all over again.
How short?
That was my main thing. I wanted him to get a really short haircut. And I wanted him to get rid of those loafers, and the white socks. I just thought, just try something new. But,
When you look at people, do you generally, are you, if not critical, are you kind of aware of the way people look, and do you think he or she would look better this way, or why don't they do this way? Is that something that's often going on in your head?
Oh, yeah. I'm often reading people.
What would you do for me?
In general?
Well, you can be as specific as you want, but...
Well, let's see. What would I do for you right now with what you were wearing?
Yeah.
Well, I think you actually look quite good. I was told you were wearing a lavender jacket, and I didn't expect to like it.
It's
and I can
blue.
see that it's Mugler.
Yeah.
It is, right. He's not my favorite designer. I would probably wear less of his clothes.
There goes the wardrobe. Let's get back to you, because obviously you're far more
But you
interesting.
look better than I thought you would.
Well, what did you expect?
I don't know.
Some kind of a hunchback coming in or something?
No, but, well, I saw one picture of you, but I couldn't see your face. You were looking down.
Was it one of those men's magazines?
Yeah.
Well, I'm pleased to have exceeded your expectations.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously made it a nicer day for you.
Mm-hmm.
I like to spread a little happiness wherever I go.
Thank you.
When critics talk about you, and obviously they do on a regular basis, what I've noticed is recently more and more they talk about the way how brilliant you are at marketing yourself, how you are this genius at packaging, at getting publicity, and yet rarely, it seems anymore, do they talk about the songs, the videos, the live performance, the films. It's like Madonna, the phenomena.
Right.
Is that something that bores you? Is that something that actually
Yes,
you
I
feel
think
depressed?
it's boring, but I think what it is a reflection of society, because I think the subject matter that I deal with, because it usually is about taboo subjects, people are so frightened of my ideas that they try to undermine my actual talent or any artistic value that may be in any of my work, and just say, oh, she's just doing that to shock people, or oh, look, she's changing her look again, oh, she really knows how to manipulate the media. But the fact is, if that's all I was good at doing, I don't think people would be paying attention to me for this long. I'm still here. Erotic. Erotic.
I want to talk about the book, of course, but before we talk about that, that's part of a much bigger deal you've signed with Time Warner, I believe.
Right.
Is it your company, Maverick?
Mm-hmm.
What are the other aspects of the deal, and what do you hope to achieve with that?
Oh, well, first I want to give you my card.
Oh.
I have a card.
I'm afraid I can't
Just so
return
you
the
don't think
compliment.
it's made up. Don't you have a card?
I've got one, but not on
Yeah.
me. I didn't think you'd be interested.
It's my first business card.
Maverick, is it your first business card?
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
You can put your home number on the back, could you?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to change it when I get back.
Oh, well, thanks. That's quite nice. And that's
Thank
kind
you.
of a Greek man and woman.
Working.
Oh, yeah. Working and playing, perhaps.
Yes.
Combining the two.
Mhm.
Working, stretching and playing. So the obvious question, which of course I'm going to ask, is would you, are you trying to, would you like to find another Madonna?
Well, I don't think that's possible. But what I'm trying to find is really, I don't know, fresh talent that's saying something, cutting edge, new. We found some really good groups. We've signed a couple of groups so far, and I'm really excited about them.
This obviously is going to mean more work for you, presumably.
It is already more work for me.
Well, I'm not saying this personally, but some people perhaps would think if they had that much success, if they had that much wealth, maybe one thing that they'd want to do is, while they were still young enough to enjoy it all, is maybe take a year off, kick around the world, go fishing, whatever.
But I enjoy what I do. Life is short, and I have lots of things to do, and I see talent out there, and I want to do something with it. I like planting seeds and watching it grow, you know what I mean? It's inspiring.
Do you actually take a holiday, though?
What is that? I mean, I always tell people vacations are for people who don't like their job. I like what I do.
I know I love what I do, but I like occasionally to say, that's it, look, you know, it's driving me crazy, I love doing it, it's exciting and stressful, but I just want to put my feet up for a week and get a bit of a suntan and maybe read all those novels. And
I do that from time to time, yeah. I mean, the main thing is to catch up on reading. I love to read, so yeah, I do it.
Well, reading brings us kind of to sex.
It does?
The book as opposed to the experience.
Oh, okay.
Although it's as much a kind of visual picture deal as it is as the writing. So why? Why did
I do the
sex?
book?
Yeah.
Well, after I wrote Justify My Love, I was approached by several publishing companies for some strange reason to write erotica. Just write it. And it had nothing to do with photographs, illustrations, or anything. And so I was throwing that idea around because I was actually flattered, and I said, well, it seemed like something challenging to do, to actually write a bunch of short stories, erotica.
And these would have been...
It's sort of in the vein of Anais Nin, but today, you know, and in my language. So I thought about that for a while, and then Stephen Meisel's photographer, who I work with all the time and who's a very good friend of mine, I've always been bugging him and saying, how come you never did a book? Because Herb Ritts did a book, and Bruce Weber did a book, and Helmut Newton, I mean, everyone's done a book, but Stephen never did. And he said, well, you know, I don't know. And then finally he said, well, I'll do it if you do it with me. So we were trying to come up with ideas for what we would do for the book, and then we thought, well, maybe I would do this thing where I would take on all these different personas and change my hair and my clothes, and kind of in the vein of Cindy Sherman, who I've brought up before to people, where she just totally becomes someone different from picture to picture. So ultimately what happened is I combined both of those ideas, erotica and visuals, and that's what it is. It's a book of erotic fantasies, in the words of, as told by Dita Paulo, a character, and she kind of takes on different personas and different characters, and that's it. And there's pictures also. The pictures sometimes go with the text, and sometimes they stand alone, and that's it.
It's dealing with something, obviously it's dealing with sex and sexual fantasies, and that's just that. Did it arouse you to actually do it, or does it arouse you to look at the book now?
Oh, no. I mean, no, not really. I mean, did it arouse me to do it? In the writing sometimes, yes, because when I was writing, I was trying to think of things that I thought were erotic, not necessarily things that I'd experienced firsthand. I don't think I'd have the time to, but...
well, see, there you go. You could take a holiday.
No, but sometimes the writing would, and what I would do is I would write stuff. I would write short stories and things, and I would give them to my friends to read, and then I'd say, does this turn you on? And then they'd bring it back to me and go, this is really hot, whatever. And I actually got lots of input from all of my friends, because it was hard for me. I couldn't be objective about it. It was more fun than erotic. It was silly, you know. And but I had a good time making it. I wouldn't say that I was sexually aroused while I was making it. Now the book's finished, I look at it and I think it's a work of art, and I'm very proud of it, but I'm already on to new things in my life. So, I mean, that goes for my album too. It's, you know, you work on something for so long, it's like a movie, and then it's sort of, you have to take a break from it and come back to it.
If we can stay with it for a little bit longer, though, which things, and presumably it changes depending on your mood and whenever, but which parts of the book are you proudest of? Which parts do you like the most?
The writing is what I'm proudest of. Yeah.
Any particular vignette, short story,
Oh,
fantasy?
my short stories are my favorite. The short story that takes place in the dressing room of Ralph Lauren is actually my favorite short story. You haven't read it, have you?
Well, I've speed read it.
Oh, you can't do that. You see, I can't.
Well, we were locked in a room. We were given an hour, you know, and I couldn't enjoy it properly.
Well, you have to read the text, because it's ultimately, you can understand the book because the text is really funny. And the pictures take on a new meaning when you read the text.
Yeah, they're pretty good on their own, though. I mean, yeah.
Thank you.
Do you find is it strange talking about, because here we are, I'm talking about essentially photographs of you in sexual situations, you in the nude.
Yeah.
Does that, I mean, because it feels mildly strange to me. It's quite a pleasant strangeness, but it feels
Why
mildly...
is it strange?
Well, because I'm talking to someone I don't know about their physicality,
yeah,
their
but I'm
sexuality.
playing characters. It's theatrical to me. I mean, it's like a movie. Even though if I could do a love scene in a movie and feel nothing for the person I'm actually doing the scene with. That's what acting is. And
I've played this role and the movie has an effect on people, but it's not really a life I've actually lived.
But you see, as a consumer, what I read into the book, what I want to read into the book is that, yes, this woman who I've seen for years is aroused. That's part of the appeal, I think, from, you know, maybe it's just me.
And it's because I personalize everything I do, and I think people truly believe that that everything I say or sing about or whatever is very personal.
So therefore, is it not strange?
I'm a good storyteller.
But is it not strange them realising that myself and the other guys, when they get to see it here, and other people throughout the country will think, yeah, this is, despite the disclaimer in the front, this is fantasy, and we still want to believe it's you, and people are still going to think.
But why do you
this
think
is
that
Madonna.
is? See, I can't be objective. Why do you?
It's the way we are as consumers, and it's the way we have access to you. The only way we have access to you is what you present to us. And if you're presenting sexually charged photograph and literature, then we're going to see that. And obviously that is a facet of your personality, but it's something that I desperately want to believe is happening for real.
Why? But why?
Because I want to be excited by it. And to be excited by it, I need to think it's you.
Right. I wonder what that means.
Well, if I think it's you playing a role, I think if people think, here's someone pretending to be having a good time, frankly, it's not that
It's
interesting.
not that I'm pretending to have a good time. It's just that, you know, where's the line between fact and fiction? I mean, Martin Scorsese can make a great movie about a bunch of thugs and guys that, you know, kill people for a living, and I'm sure that he understands the essence of that, and he makes those movies the best because it's a life he knows and understands, but I don't think he actually had to go out and kill people to understand it. So, I mean, there's something of myself in everything, but it would be unfair to say that it's exactly me and I lived all of these things. I don't know if maybe it makes people feel safer to know that it was me that actually experienced it. And it doesn't really matter to me because ultimately what's important is that somehow that you are influenced by it, affected by it, that somehow it touches you in some way, and whether you think it's my own personal experience or not is irrelevant to me.
Let me ask you if I can. I'm not going to get bogged down in the specifics of it, but there's one thing that recently was in our newspapers because of a member of Parliament who was indulging in it, which is toe sucking. And I believe the popular usage is shrimping.
Shrimping?
I believe shrimping is the term.
I haven't heard that term.
Shrimping, I know them all.
I heard.
Is this... I'm being flattered, aren't I? Is this you, in the photograph you're sucking someone's toe, and I believe that's the cover of the album as well, is it?
It's the back cover.
The back cover. Is it something that you actually find easy to do, enjoyable to do?
No, actually, I'd rather have my toe sucked.
So it's better to receive than to give?
Yeah, unfortunately.
If it came to it, I think I would rather suck your toe than have you suck mine as well.
Really? Well, I guess we'd have to look at each other's feet to know that.
But curiously, and I'm not saying this just to be frivolent and showbizy, but I did spend longer cleaning my toes this morning.
Did you?
Than I normally do. And that's the kind of impact you're having on me at the moment.
Oh. Well, have you ever had your toe sucked?
No.
It's a wonderful feeling.
I don't really feel the need. I think there's probably...
Why? Wait, okay, stop.
Frankly, if someone's prepared to do that for me...
Do you like having your finger sucked? Come on now, everybody digs that.
You know, maybe not really, I don't know.
Do you like having any other part of your body sucked?
Yes. There's an affirmative in there somewhere trying to get out.
Well, it's kind of like that, I think. I mean, the great thing about your toes being sucked is that it's not something, you know, I mean, toes are always, I mean, you stand on your feet all day, they're sweaty, they're enclosed in socks and shoes, and it's kind of exotic, you know what I mean?
You're not doing a great job of selling this to me.
Ah, okay, well,
See,
I enjoy it, that's all, I mean.
Well, I can see it on the
I
giving.
know other people that enjoy it.
I give to you. I choose not to receive.
Okay. It's very big of you.
So, okay. I could talk all day about it, though.
So could I.
Can I talk about something else, which isn't specific in the pictures, in the photographs in the book, but it's in the text, which is, you talk about anal sex.
I do?
Oh, yes.
I talk about it one time.
Once was enough for me. Whoop! Logged in there for life. And I can't remember, perhaps you would give me the quote, but the statement was something along the lines of...
It's a joke. It's Dita. There's a through line in the book where Dita's talking to her doctor. And he says, do you think, as if you come into the middle of a session of analysis, he says, well, do you think it's possible to experience pain and pleasure at the same time. And it's meant to be witty. And I say, yeah, that's what ass fucking is all about. Am I getting bleeped right now?
No, I think we'll probably leave that in. Demonstration will be a problem, but we can talk about it.
I'll say.
There's a
It's a joke. It's a joke.
No, it's being received as one. I just had to ask you because obviously it's in there and it's one of the more provocative jokes in the book.
Yeah.
But having said that, there is obviously we're talking about very specific acts here,
Yeah.
and there's not a disclaimer so much, but a kind of message which I imagine is more from you yourself than the characters, saying that this book it's a series of fantasies and ideas and erotic thoughts,
Yeah.
and they're kind of set in a dream world when there are no such illnesses as AIDS or other, I assume, venereal diseases.
Right.
And yet there are things in it which perhaps maybe people would think, well, it's a shame we can't just do that without protection.
Yeah, but that's the point. It's a fantasy. I mean, reading erotica is the safest form of sex you could have, or watching erotica is the safest form of sex. I'm not encouraging people to go out and have unsafe sex. And in fact, I make a point of that in the preface of the book, that my fantasies take place in a perfect world where sexually transmitted diseases don't exist. But just because I say that ass fucking is a way to experience pain and pleasure doesn't mean that to leave out wearing the condom part. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't say that anywhere.
Yeah, the two don't necessarily exclude one another. Do you, let me ask you, presumably you practice safe sex?
Absolutely.
Do you carry a condom yourself?
Oh, yes, I've got them everywhere. Yep.
Okay.
People give them to me all the time for some reason, so I never run out of them.
They've probably got phone numbers on them and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Let me suck your toes in on the bar.
But toe sucking is a very safe form of sex too.
I should imagine so. Is it just the
Finger
big toe?
sucking too. No, the little toes, but the big toe gives you the most amount of pleasure.
Just as a tip, if someone were to do that.
They have to have clean feet. Forget it.
Well, we're talking about doing it to you, and let's assume you always
I
have
have
clean feet
clean
or
feet, yeah.
cleanish. Starting with the toes, would a little nibble round the side of the foot upwards be advisable?
Yes, absolutely.
Pausing maybe in the crook of the knee?
Well, actually, the best thing is to start at the toe and just work your way up.
Fantastic. Oh, and I'm being paid for this. Let me talk about, can I talk specifically about your sexuality, and feel free, if I'm out of line, tell me and we'll just move on. But obviously there's speculation.
I'll tell you if it's relevant.
Okay. There's speculation always in the press about you, what you do, what you get involved with, who you get involved with. Your affairs with men have been dedoubled quite lovingly, perhaps inaccurately by the press. And obviously your marriage and your relationship with Warren Beatty recently was great fodder for the tabloids. They loved it. And now there's speculation as well about your involvement with women.
Right.
Do you find sex with men preferable to sex with women, or
Yes.
do you enjoy sex with women as well?
Do you want me to? Whatever you want.
Yeah, I think I quite like the idea.
Okay.
But
Well, people have always accused me of being a sort of raving nymphomaniac, and they said things that I did with men that weren't true, and they said things that I did with women that aren't true. I'm very intrigued by sexuality and homosexuality. That doesn't mean that I necessarily experience it, and I don't think it's relevant. And if people say, oh, she sleeps with women, I don't bother to deny it because I don't think it matters. It's really, who cares? I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, so I'm not going to go around going, oh God, that's not true, that's not true. So, I mean, I don't think it's relevant.
do you think that perhaps there's a positive side to people reading this into your life, insofar as if there were people out there who are perhaps a performer, a famous person who is gay and who is open about that, then it makes it so much easier?
Absolutely. I think that gays need to have more role models, people who are in powerful positions coming out and saying, I'm gay. I think that would be very helpful. Absolutely.
Let me talk something else about the book which occurred to me when I was looking at it, which is there's been much talk about whether it's erotica or pornography, and I think that's far too muddy water to get into. I don't know. I think it's a personal thing. You draw the line where you will on that. But traditionally, I think, men often use photographs of that type, and I assume women as well, in an aid for masturbation, for enjoying themselves. Has that occurred to you that the book would be used in that way, and is that something that you've dwelt on?
This occurred to me, and there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's fine.
Were there any times when you were doing the photographs when you think, well, this one will work?
No, not necessarily. It's too hard. It's like that's like if I was writing a song, and while I was writing I was going, wow, this one's going to really go over big. You can't be that way when you're being creative. I think it kills the creative process if you're too outside of yourself, looking at yourself saying, wow, this is really going to have this kind of an effect.
I read a quote from you, which is a slightly different subject, but I suppose it's linked, which is... In which
I hope it's true.
Well, I hope so as well, but tell me if it isn't. Where you said, pussy rules the world.
Oh.
You say that?
More or less, yeah.
And you also
It's
said...
meant to be, you know.
Slightly ironical.
Exactly.
But with a point.
Exactly.
I think I'm getting the hang of it.
Okay.
But you also said, I believe, that you said you wouldn't want to have a penis. Although, this is the same quote, Michael, although you said you have a dick in your brain.
Right.
What exactly does that mean? And
It
is
means
it
that
uncomfortable?
I think everyone possesses feminine and masculine traits, and I feel if strength and vision and a certain kind of dominant behavior is synonymous with masculinity, which I think it is in our society, then I have those qualities. I have masculine traits in my head, so it's not necessary to have the actual physical apparatus. That's what I meant.
One other thing that's come up about the book, one other interesting thought that someone's expressed to me is that in a way it's almost like it's perhaps it's like a historical document in a way. It's almost as if you are preserving yourself in your prime. You're revealing more of yourself than ever before, or perhaps you ever will again.
Well, then I guess you could say that about anybody who does a movie at whatever age they are when they're young. Was Marilyn Monroe preserving herself in her prime when she did Some Like It Hot? Is Michelle Pfeiffer preserving herself in her prime when she did Batman 2? I mean, what does that mean?
Well, this
her
is
young, beautiful body is forever preserved on screen.
Oh, certainly, but you're actually going a bit further than doing like yet another acting, or you're doing something which you've never done before and you may never do again.
Well, I'm playing characters, and because I think that I look good with my clothes off and I like my body right now, I cast myself in those characters. Maybe if I hadn't done the book now, and 20 years from now I would have done the book, I would have hired some models to do it.
Do you think perhaps that you will be someone who will challenge this kind of taboo of like women losing their sexuality or not being seen as sexual animals as much when they get past, say, 40 or 40?
Yes, I mean, I think that not only do we suffer from racism and sexism and things like that, but we also suffer from ageism, and that is that once you reach a certain age, you're not allowed to be adventurous, you're not allowed to be sexual, you know, and I think that's rather hideous. And I mean, a lot of people have said, oh, it's so pathetic, or what is she going to do? I hope she's not still doing that in 10 years. I mean, who cares? What if I am? I mean, is there a rule? I mean, what are you supposed to just die when you're 40? I mean, and that's basically what everyone wants people to do, and I think it's stupid. You're just supposed to just kind of, you know, put yourself out to pasture.
Put yourself back in the closet.
Exactly. I mean, why? Life is long. People are living to be, you know, 100 years old, so, you know, I don't get it. Erotic.
Let me talk a bit, and this is something I know you've been asked many times, but I'm leading hopefully to slightly more interesting, fresher waters with it.
I hope so.
Which is about relationships and having relationships when they're so clearly and obviously followed by the press and documented and information.
Oh, they're
sought
not.
after.
They may think they know what they're talking about, but they never do.
How much of a strain does it put on a relationship, though? I mean, is it a constant worry?
It depends on the person. You know, it depends on the person. Some people I get involved with really can't deal with people writing stuff about them, even if it isn't true, and that's fine. You know, I mean, the reason people wrote a lot about Sean and Warren was because they were stars in their own right. They had careers in entertainment, so people already knew about them. There's lots of other people that I get involved with that aren't in the entertainment business, and nobody really knows about them, and for that reason I try to keep their names unknown, because it's not a life they've chosen, you know, so I don't think they necessarily would know how to deal with it the way somebody who's already had, you know, things that they've done reviewed and criticized. I mean, you start to get a thick skin, and you know when someone's taking a shot at you and when they're not. And people who can't handle it generally don't last with me, because, and I respect that, you know. I mean, I've been out with people and they've been in the car with me, and there's tons of fans around, the car's being rocked, and I can see they're about to have a cardiac arrest, you know what I mean? They just can't deal with it, and I understand that. That's fine, but this is my life, so.
Do people, men and women, when presumably they come onto you on a fairly regular basis, I certainly would hope so, what kind of things do they say? Is there a standard routine? Is there a kind of ignoring your fame, or is there?
No, nobody can try anything on me. I'm too clever.
What kind of lines do you normally hear?
I don't hear lines. I don't.
Okay, so when something happens, when it clicks, obviously the chemistry.
I mean, no one's come up to me and said, haven't I seen you somewhere before? Or,
nice toes.
oh dear, I don't know. I mean, I guess the people that if you want to attract my attention, I think the best thing to do, if this is what you're trying to find out, is to basically ignore the celebrity side of me, because if I can tell at all that someone is awestruck by me, then I know that it's not me they're interested in, it's my persona, you know.
Are you a monogamous person, do you think? Is that something that, is that a
if
lifestyle?
I'm in love with someone, yes. Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because when you're just with one person, there's a kind of intimacy that grows from that, and you get to know somebody, and someone gets to know you in a way that nobody else has, and it's a good feeling. It's something to accomplish and achieve, I think.
You mentioned Warren Beatty earlier, of course,
Mm-hmm.
or well, I probably brought him up. And a lot of people were surprised when you started that relationship with him, I think, because obviously he had this reputation as this kind of womanizer.
Well, I have a reputation too.
Not quite as, I don't think yours is quite as depressing.
Well, okay.
I mean, his, I think, stuck, you know, I always thought,
Probably because he had it for so long.
yeah, that's what it just seemed a bit sad. I think it kind of had outstayed welcome. But that's just me. I'm talking about that. You know, this guy seemed to. Was that part of the appeal though? Did you think? And this sounds like a terrible cliche, and perhaps it is. But did you think perhaps I can tame this man if I want to?
Not at all. When I met Warren, I thought he was one of the most intelligent men I'd ever met in my life. He's experienced a lot. He knows a lot about a lot of things. And when I met him, I said, here's a person I can learn something from. That's it, really. I mean, I know he had a history, but I know that a lot of that is what people made up about him. And the fact of the matter is he was involved with some very interesting, intelligent women. I mean, they weren't a bunch of bimbos, and they all were very independent women. They didn't want to get married and settle down and have children, so that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
And no, I didn't think of it at all. I didn't think, oh, I'm going to tame him. No, I mean, that's not my style.
Do you think you could have if you wanted to?
Tame him? Well, what does tame him mean?
I don't know, do what Annette Bening seems to have done.
Sure. Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could have been me.
Do you feel regret that it isn't?
No.
I'm pleased to hear you say that.
Sure.
One of the things, obviously, that you're known for, and you obviously spend a lot of time doing, is helping to raise awareness about AIDS, about people who are HIV positive, and the way society deals with them. And I know there was a rumour that came up a while ago. Someone started a rumour that you were HIV positive, and you dealt with it in a very clever way. I think you came out and said, if this is the kind of stuff that I have to put up with, so be it. You know, it doesn't matter. But I'm curious, if you were to find yourself HIV positive, how would you deal with it? How would you deal with it in terms of the press and the world?
Well, I would certainly say that I was. I mean, I can't go to the bathroom without everybody knowing about it. Plus, I don't think it's anything to be ashamed about, and that's one of the problems with AIDS, is that it's like, you know, people are made to feel that they're lepers and that they have to go and hide in a cave somewhere. I think that the most important thing that I could do is to make an announcement and say that I was HIV positive, and then the next thing would be to stay as healthy as long as possible. That's what I do.
It seems to be not just AIDS, but also just sexual politics, well, because it would seem to be a very hot issue in America now. Is the political arena something that interests you? I mean, would you want to endorse a candidate over and above just voting for them? Would you go on the trail for someone, do you think?
If I really, really felt passionate about them, it's possible, yeah. Absolutely.
And who will you vote for this time out?
Clinton, absolutely.
Is that because you believe in him, or because the others are just such a poor choice?
Well, just put it this way. It's time to get a Democrat in the White House, and he's not my ideal kind of a Democrat. There are a lot of things about his campaign that I don't feel good about, but it's the best thing. It's the best possible situation as far as I'm concerned, so I heartily endorse him.
One final thing, and I know you've been asked this before as well, but I'm going to ask you anyway, because, you know, it's something that people always, I think, when they read about you and think about you, which is your mother.
Yes.
And you talk about what memories you have of the time with your mother. But yours is a remarkable life. I mean, you do lead a very strange life, don't you? Would she understand it, do you think? Would she approve? Would she like it? How would you share it with her if she were alive?
Who knows? I mean, she hasn't been around for so long. I don't know right now. My idea of my mother, I think, is mostly fantasy because she died when I was so young that at this point, you know, she's like a picture of Jesus Christ, you know. I mean, it's the most perfect picture of a human being that ever existed, and I'm sure if my mother were alive that she would love me and accept me for whatever. I mean, that's the way my father is, and I don't know if she would necessarily agree with everything I did, but she would be my mother, and she would love me. That's the most I could guess at, anyways.
You know, in the film, I really liked your dad.
Oh, you did?
I thought you came across as such a sweet guy. I thought you were a bit mean to him in places.
Yeah.
You could have been nice on the phone. When you said, Dad, he said, is there any nudity, Madonna? And any dad's going to say, I don't, you know, I've got a daughter.
Because my father still calls me, I mean, my father, he's sort of benign, you know what I mean? Just because it's like he still hasn't really caught on that I live this life that I live and that I do what I do, and he'll call me up and he'll say things, and I go, Dad, of course, you know what I mean?
He's just being polite. He just doesn't know how to deal with it.
He's very sweet, but I mean, for my father to call me up and see if he could have more than 2 tickets to one of my shows.
It was a little affected, I understand.
I realize I haven't talked to you in a while, and, you know, I hope everything's okay and everything, but I have no idea if you guys are coming to the show, what night, blah, 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 and all that stuff.
I don't know.
So what's going on?
Your nights were changing.
Well, so who wants to come? And when?
Well, whatever, you know.
I mean, Dad, I'd love it if you'd come to both shows. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty racy in some sections. I don't know if you could take it 2 nights in a row.
Oh, you had to get racy on me, eh?
Dad, I'm not getting racy. I've been racy.
I know, but can't you tone it down a bit?
What, for you?
Yeah.
No, because that would be compromising my artistic integrity.
Of course. You undress in this performance?
No.
Oh, God.
Of course I don't.
Okay. Well, whatever you guys can get us tickets for,
Dad, I can get you tickets any night you want to come.
would be great.
Just tell me how many tickets you want. But you got to tell me now, and you got to tell me who they're for.
But rather than have some guy come on, hey, Madge, or whatever he calls you, I'm bringing all the guys from the office tonight.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's preferable.
It's nicer.
No, he's a very sweet man.
Well, just be nice to him.
I am nice to him, please.
Well, be nicer. Because you've only got one dad.
No shit.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I said I've got it off my chest. But I like the film as well.
Thank
Would you do it again? Would you do that kind of thing again?
A documentary?
Or something as revealing as that?
I'd probably do it, but not with me as a subject, somebody else.
Well, I think we're probably out of time. So I want to say thank you very much. It was a great pleasure talking to you.
Time went by so fast.
And say hello to your dad for me.
Okay.
Can I give you a little peck on the cheek? Goodbye.
Sure. Huh. Do you want to suck my toe?
No, no, thanks.
Okay.
No. I can only apologise.
I've done weirder things.
I'm sure you have. Yeah. So why don't we put a grease paint moustache on while we're at it?
Erotica, romance, erotica, romance. My name is Dita. I'll be your mistress tonight. I'd like to put you in a trance. If I take you from behind, push myself into your mind when you least expect it. You try to reject it. If I'm in charge and I treat you like a child, will you let yourself go wild? Let my mouth go where it wants to.